Standard Deviant School.
Hi, welcome to Standard Deviant School, Spanish. I'm Tessa Monroe.
And I'm Kenyatta Rogers. Our program today is using possessive adjectives.
Right. You'll love these things. With just one little word, you're able to express possession of anything you want. Check this out. Right now, this is just a stool. But if I add one little word, it becomes my stool. My orange stool. Mine, oh mine.
That's great, Tessa. Saying that you possess stuff is pretty easy when you know how to use possessive adjectives.
Here's our Standard Deviant's approach to learning about possessive adjectives. We'll start with some new and exciting vocabulary. Then we'll introduce you to all the possessive adjectives. After that, we'll show you how these guys are used, followed by a bunch of examples of possessive adjectives in action. Before we're done, you'll also learn about how to make possessive adjectives agree in number and gender with the nouns that they modify. Then we'll send you on your merry way. Let's get started on some vocabulary.
Pulpo means octopus. Spanish speakers call me a roca.
Padre means father.
And padres means parents.
Hijo means son.
Hija means daughter.
Hijos means sons.
Hijas means daughters.
Calcetines are socks.
Libro means book.
A motocicleta is a motorcycle.
And extraño means strange.
I am a possessive adjective, and this is my stuff. You may not use it, so do not ask.
In English, the possessive adjectives are words like my, your, his, her, their, and our. In Spanish, they are mi, tu, su, and nuestro or nuestra, and the plural forms of these. Notice that the possessive adjective tu does not have an accent over the u like the pronoun tu does. This is a case where the accent indicates particular meaning rather than a particular pronunciation.
Me means my. Tu is the informal version of your. Su is the formal version of your. And su can also mean his, her, or their. The only possessive adjective we'll go over that has gender is nuestro, and its feminine form, nuestra, which means our. All of these words are adjectives because they tell you something about the upcoming noun. They tell you to whom it belongs.
Spanish possessive adjectives work very much like their English counterparts. For instance, mi is used just like my in English. To say my dog, you'd say mi perro. Notice that unlike most Spanish adjectives, these possessive adjectives go before the noun they modify.
Most Spanish adjectives follow the noun, as in the phrase el pulpo ofensivo, which means the offensive octopus. If you added a possessive adjective to the phrase, making it my offensive octopus, you'd say mi pulpo ofensivo.
Spanish possessive adjectives go before the noun they modify. That makes them a little different, since most Spanish adjectives usually go after the noun they're modifying. Now remember, Spanish adjectives have to match the noun in both number and gender. This is true for possessive adjectives as well.
In English, we can say my car, or we can say my cars. The same possessive adjective, my, works with either a singular or a plural noun.
In Spanish, the possessive adjective has to match the noun it modifies. If you have one car, you say mi. Mi is a possessive adjective and carro means car. If you have two cars, the possessive adjective has to become plural as well to match the noun it modifies. You'd say mis carros. It's really very easy. You just have to remember to add an S to the end of both the possessive adjective and the noun. They have to match. It's like coordinating your wardrobe. Here are some examples.
Mi roca. Mis rocas. Tu padre. Tus padres.
The possessive adjective su and its plural form sus go with the formal pronoun usted. If you're talking to your professor and you're referring to her book, you would use the possessive adjective su.
Su and sus also go with ustedes, the plural you, as well as with él, ella, ellos, and ellas.
So really, su libro can mean his book, her book, their book, or it can mean your book if you're using usted, the formal version of you. Since su has so many meanings, make sure your audience knows who you're talking about.
Who are you talking about?
Make yourself clear.
Why are you so vague?
Let's get them!
The thing to remember about possessive adjectives is that, in number, they have to match the thing which is possessed, not the possessor.
The possessive adjectives refer to the possessor, letting you know who the possessor is. But the gender and number of the possessive adjective itself is dependent upon the gender and number of the thing which is possessed, not on the possessor.
I thought I knew everything. I used Spanish possessive adjectives all the time. I thought I was using them correctly. But I was so wrong. I thought that if a bunch of people owned a hat together, I should write sus sombrero. The S at the end of sus would show that a bunch of people own the hat, not just one person. But I was wrong. 100 people could own that hat, and it would still just be su sombrero, because there's only one thing being possessed. One hat.
Remember, the possessive adjective agrees with the thing being possessed, not the possessor.
Things are better now. The sun's a little brighter, the trees are a little greener, and my Spanish is understood by all who speak Spanish. So pay attention to those possessive adjectives. Don't make the same mistake I did.
If you say his motorcycle, the possessive adjective his modifies the noun motorcycle. In Spanish, his motorcycle would be su motocicleta. Mi motocicleta.
So if you're talking about his socks, plural, rather than a single sock, you have to say sus calcetines. The possessive adjective matches the noun it modifies. In this case, the plural noun socks is being modified, so the possessive adjective also must be plural. Just add s.
The adjectives for our are nuestro, the singular masculine form, nuestra, the singular feminine form, nuestros, the plural masculine form, and nuestras, the plural feminine form.
Nuestra hija es muy extraña.
Notice that in the example, nuestra hija es muy extraña. The possessive adjective nuestra is singular and feminine, to match the singular feminine noun hija that it's modifying. You should also notice that the adjective extraña, which means strange, is also in its singular feminine form, to match the noun hija.
Nuestros hijos son extraños también.
Sí.
In this example, we use the masculine plural form nuestros to match the masculine plural noun hijos. Again, notice that the adjective extraños is in its masculine plural form in the sentence to match hijos.
Let's review what we just learned. The possessive adjectives are mi, mis, tu, tus, su, sus, and nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, and nuestras. These possessive adjectives have to agree in number with the nouns they modify. If the noun is singular, then the possessive adjective has to be singular. If the noun is plural, then the possessive adjective has to be plural. Nuestro takes it a step further. It has to agree with the noun it modifies in both number and gender.
So there you have it, my fellow deviants. That's the end of this episode, using possessive adjectives. Now you know a thing or two about expressing possession.
I sure do. My shirt, my shoes, my stool, my lovely orange stool.
Thanks for watching Standard Deviant School, Spanish. I'm Tessa Monroe.
And I'm Kenyatta Rogers.
Goodbye.